Welcome back to Charlie Talks Global, where today we're diving into the vibrant cultures that make our world so fascinating.
Okay, so the big one, will Apple finally jump into the foldable phone game? It feels like we've been talking about this for years, right?
Absolutely. Constant speculation, leaks, lots of what ifs.
Exactly. But now the latest stuff we've been digging into, it sounds like the answer is yes. A pretty definite yes.
And maybe sooner than a lot of people thought.
Right. That's what we need to unpack.
Yeah, this rumored iPhone Fold. It's a big deal for Apple, considering how they usually, wait and see with new types of devices.
Totally. So today we're going deep. We're looking at when it might actually land, what it could look like.
And maybe the most interesting part, why now? Why jump in years after Samsung and others started?
Okay, so our mission for you listening is pretty simple. Cut through all the noise out there. We've pulled out the key details from the most credible sources we could find. Think of it as your shortcut to getting up to speed on Apple's foldable plans.
Yeah, the important bits, maybe some surprising details too. We want you to feel like you really get the picture.
All right, so with something this anticipated, the first question, the burning question is, when? When can we actually expect to see this thing?
Well, the name that keeps coming up is Mark Gurman over at Bloomberg. Highly respected source.
Definitely.
And he's pointing to 2026.
2026? Okay, wait, that's just next year.
Exactly. It suddenly makes us feel very real, very close, not some fuzzy future concept anymore.
So it's moved from if to when, and when is potentially just around the corner.
Precisely.
Okay. So the next obvious thought everyone has, how much damage is this going to do to my wallet? Because, it's Apple.
Let's be real, yeah. The estimate floating around is no less than $2,000.
US dollars.
$2,000, wow, okay.
And just for perspective, that's roughly, over 14,000 Chinese yuan currently.
So we're not just talking premium. This is like ultra premium territory, top of the absolute top.
It positions it right at the peak. Even for foldables, which are already pricey, it's definitely making a statement about its place in their lineup. And we should probably emphasize the source again, right? Mark Gurman.
Yeah, absolutely. His Power On newsletter. I mean, he's not just guessing. He has a remarkably strong track record with Apple predictions.
He really does. Seems to get details way ahead of time, often correctly.
So when Gurman puts a specific date and a price like this out there, especially for this product, it's way more than just a random rumor.
Right. It carries weight. It suggests this is based on some solid inside information, giving us a peek behind Apple's usual curtain.
Exactly. It makes the 2026 timeline and that price point feel much more plausible.
Okay, so beyond when and how much, what's it actually going to be like? The device itself, what are the specs saying?
This is where it gets really interesting, I think. The reports mention roughly a 7.8-inch inner screen when it's unfolded.
7.8 inches, that's pretty big. That's like a mini tablet right there.
It really is. Lots of space for doing actual work, watching videos, gaming, you name it.
And then when you close it,
you get a 5.5-inch outer screen, which is still, a decent phone size for quick stuff, checking messages, maps, that kind of thing.
So it's trying to bridge that gap, compact phone, expansive tablet?
Seems like it. Try to offer both without too much compromise.
What about thickness? That's always a big thing with foldables and something Apple obsesses over.
Right. So folded, it's expected to be around 9 to 9.5 millimeters.
Okay, which isn't super thin, but for a folding device, maybe manageable?
Manageable, exactly. But then you unfold it, and the projection is it shrinks down to somewhere between 4.5 and 4.8 millimeters.
Whoa, 4.5 millimeters. That's incredibly thin, like almost half the thickness of a normal phone.
It's kind of mind-bending, isn't it, for something with a hinge and a flexible screen?
That thinness, it's not just a spec, is it? It tells you a lot about the engineering challenges they must be tackling.
Absolutely. I mean, how do you make something that thin when it's open and still have it be durable? Think about the hinge, the screen itself.
And the battery. Where do you even put enough battery?
Exactly. It suggests maybe new battery tech like multi-cell design spread out or much higher energy density, and thermal management becomes crucial too, especially for that big screen.
So it implies serious innovation under the hood. New materials, new layouts, classic Apple industrial design focus pushed to the limit.
That's what it sounds like. Pushing the boundaries of miniaturization again.
But it's not just about the hardware, right? The experience hinges, pun intended, on the software too.
Oh, definitely. And the reports mention iOS 27 being key to this.
iOS 27, so the software specifically built for this foldable form factor.
Right. Not just stretching existing apps. They're talking about a brand new, multitasking interface mechanism.
Okay, that sounds significant. More than just side-by-side apps.
Potentially, yeah. New ways to interact, manage windows, maybe seamless transitions between the outer and inner screens.
And they also mentioned adjusted system apps. What does that mean?
It sounds like core Apple apps, Mail, Safari, Calendar, whatever, might have genuinely different interfaces or functionalities depending on whether you're using the small outer screen or the large inner one.
Ah, so optimizing the experience for each state, not just making it fit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
More than just responsive design. Maybe quick action interfaces on the outside, full-featured ones on the inside.
That really does raise the question, doesn't it? How will Apple make this feel Apple-like, seamless and intuitive?
That's their big challenge and opportunity. Their whole brand is built on that hardware-software integration.
Right.
So they need to make using two different screen sizes feel natural, not clunky or confusing. They need to define what a truly great foldable software experience is.
Set the standard, potentially, like they've done in other categories?
That seems to be the goal. Go beyond just having a screen that folds.
Okay, so this brings us to the really big picture question. Why? Why now? Apple sat back for years while Samsung, Google, others experimented, sometimes stumbled. What's the strategic driver pushing them into the foldable market in 2026?
Well, if you connect the dots from the reports, the primary reason mentioned is pretty specific. It's the Chinese market.
China. Okay, tell me more.
The sources say there's strong interest in foldables there, and Apple explicitly hopes this device will help them further expand sales of its models in China.
So this isn't just about having a foldable. It's a targeted play for a absolutely crucial market.
It seems very much market-driven. China's shown a real appetite for these kinds of cutting-edge, high-status devices. Foldables have gained traction there.
Interesting. So it's less about leading the tech trend globally and more about winning in a specific high-value region where foldables are already popular.
That appears to be a major factor, yes. Capturing that segment that wants the latest form factor.
And the reports also mentioned Samsung, didn't they? Something about them paving the way.
Yeah, that was an interesting point. The source noted Samsung's been working hard on foldables for, what, 7 years now?
Right, a long time. Lots of iterations.
And that effort, all that R&D and market building, has basically created the conditions for Apple to step in now with their own advanced tech.
So Apple didn't have to do the really hard, early pioneering work?
Kind of seems that way. Samsung and others took the initial risks, figured out some of the manufacturing hurdles, educated the market.
Right. They dealt with the early hinge problems, the screen creases.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Apple can potentially enter a more mature market. They benefit from all that groundwork.
It lets them focus on perfecting it rather than inventing it from scratch, which is, well, that's very Apple, isn't it?
It's a classic Apple playbook move, you could say. Observe, let others test the waters, then come in with a polished, integrated product aiming to solve the pain points and refine the experience.
They skip the messy, early adopter phase and aim straight for the mainstream. Well, the ultra-premium mainstream, anyway.
Precisely. Leveraging the market awareness and supply chain stability built by competitors, it saves them a lot of initial headache and investment.
Okay, so let's wrap this up for everyone listening. The inside scoop looks like this. iPhone Fold, likely landing in 2026.
Yep, with a hefty price tag, expect north of $2,000.
It'll have specific screen sizes around 7.8 inches inside, 5.5 outside, and aiming for that incredibly slim, unfolded profile.
And powered by iOS 27, promising brand new ways to multitask and interact with apps on those different screens.
And maybe the biggest strategic piece, a laser focus on boosting sales in the critical Chinese market, where foldables are already hot.
This whole story really underlines how powerful market demand, especially in huge regions like China, can push even giants like Apple into totally new product categories.
It shows it's not always just about the tech for its own sake, but about timing, strategy, and meeting specific market desires. Waiting, then aiming for polish.
Exactly. It's a fascinating case study in tech strategy.
So here's something to think about until our next deep dive. What does Apple's calculated, market-driven entry into foldables tell us about where global tech development is heading?
Right. And how will their potentially super polished, even if late, arrival shake up the entire foldable space for everyone else?
Definitely something to mull over.